SaipanStamper, and I am coming to you from the island of Saipan. I have tried this live once already, and it did not work well, so please show your support today and say a little kind word so that I can get through this. I'm going to use a card template. It's one of my favorite things to do. And so this is a card template that I found on Pinterest from Mojo Sketch 552. I don't know who they are, but it's a sketch that I've cut out and saved for later. And then I also just kept skipping over it. So I decided to just go ahead and tackle it. And I really love the cards I made, so I hope you do too. I also remade the template the way I like it, the way I like to keep mine. This is just on copy paper, and yes, I could put it on a sturdier paper, but for me it's best to have them all in the same style. Like if you go to Mojo Sketch, they're also going to have their templates all the same way. So whatever works for you, but I highly recommend using templates. I'm gonna leave, we're gonna work from Mojo Sketches template today. So I'm gonna leave that there. And I'm going to work on a Christmas design today because we can do pretty much anything we want with these. And I will show you all the different cards that I have made using this template and getting totally different looks. So we're starting with a Christmas card, and I have real red paper. I'm using the regular A2 size card, and it's a 5.5 by 8.5 cardstock, real red, and I just folded that in half. Now I'm going to take some of this Traditions of Paper Christmas and cut these pieces down to get what we need. This is what I have left over from my paper share. I host a paper share every time new papers come out so that my customers and team can get small amounts. And I actually didn't buy another big, like a full pack of this for myself, but I am absolutely got it on my list for my next order. So let's go ahead and cut the rest of the pieces. So I always start from the bottom up. That's absolutely like ingrained into me now, and I can't hardly do anything else. So I'm going to start with a card base and then work from the bottom layer. So this is 1 by 4.5. And I think I'm going to take this green striped sheet to do this. I like to, when this card pack has both, very colorful wild ones, and I love to mix and match these. I just think it looks super nice. So this one needs to be 4.5, which this is, by 1 inch. So let's go ahead and cut it. So that's easy enough. And then if you're making multiples, I make multiples a lot, you can just cut these little bits all at once and you'll have all these gorgeous cards that you can go ahead and use. So next is a 4 inch by 0.75. So I think this is more than 4, but we're going to cut the 0.75 inches, and then I'll cut it down to 4. Move that down a little bit so you can see it a little better. And please leave a comment if you're here. Hi, thank you. I got a couple people on, so that makes me feel great. At least that part's working. The next piece is going to be a 2.5 by 3. So I wanted to switch this up a little bit, and I have got a piece of the gold foil, and I put it under in this ornate folder that is retired. It's a very old one, but I think it's super elegant. And so sometimes I go back and pull it out. That's the beauty of embossing folders. It's 2.25 on the other way, 3 on this. I'm going to cut this. So, right, I keep my whole stack of embossing folders, and it just gives me a really great all these great options. So then the next is going to be this circle. So you can use a punch, but I decided I was going to use my stitch circle die, and it is here. Let me grab that. So this one has not only the cut edge, but then the stitching. And I know it's really very subtle. You may not be able to see it very well, but it's gorgeous. So I had originally was going to use this as this paper here, and then decided not to. Okay, so funny thing, I have forgotten to cut this 3 3 3 3/4 by 5 piece of paper. And when I first was using this sketch, that's what I did. I made my first card like this. So this one is done with a gathering together, and I did a sympathy card with just a bit of twine. And I didn't notice that this was a second layer, that this dotted edge was the outside of the card. And so I just had this whole brown thing. You'll see why adding that other paper underneath is going to be impactful. So let me cut this one. It's going to be 5 inches. And aside from our inside piece, this is all we're cutting for this. By 3 3/4. And then I can put my paper cutter away and get down to business. And this goes together so quick. Oh, I lied. Here, we also have this little 0.5 by 2 inches. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer. And let me go ahead and stamp that now. I took my Merry Christmas stamp. You can see it here. I took my Merry Christmas stamp from a retired stamp set because it had this, it was just the right size that I wanted to use. So always I keep my favorite retired stamps. I can't possibly keep all of them because that would be a ridiculous amount. And when I'm stamping the white, I like to have some contrast, especially when I'm trying to get it in a exact space and not make it crooked. So that putting the black behind it really makes it easier for my eyes to see. So that's it. I keep promising that's it. I'm totally not following through on it. So here we go. You have the base, this layer, all these pieces. So then we're just going to go ahead and put it together. This one is the big layer from the back, and I'm going to use my liquid glue. I also learned this trick. I keep my liquid glue in this little, it's actually a nail polish bottle holder for when you paint your own nails. I don't paint my own nails, somebody else does it, but it is a great way to hold the liquid glue on your desk. It's my glue is always in the same place, and it stands up so that the glue is in the nozzle. So I really love that. That's a very handy tool for me. Keeps my glue in the right place. So I don't know, there's not a right or a wrong here, but I'm gonna turn that upside down. I also have a little bit of fuzz here from my from my cutter. So I'm just going to take my little sanding block and move that fuzz off. Okay, then these two are going to go on here. I'm going to put the glue on them both. I think I'm going to, let me show you how this is going to go together. Put this here, then this. I've got this bright one, and then I'm going to stick this in here. So now that I'm happy with all my colors and patterns and all that, because sometimes you can think it's going to look good and somehow it doesn't, but that happens. That's why I just, one piece at a time, I don't glue anything until I've got all my pieces done. And when people come to my classes, I'm like, glue last. We can always fix it if it's not glued together. And sometimes we can fix it when it is. See, there I go, liquid glue right on my knuckle. That's me. Okay, so those are gonna go like that. So when I put this on, this shows that it kind of goes over here, but I didn't care for that. It really especially with this over here, it felt like everything was on this side and this side was a little empty. So I'm just going to pull this out and give myself a little bit more room to do it, which is my prerogative because it's their card template, but my card. And it's just for inspiration. And it's a great way to just get your creativity jump-started and make a whole lot of cards, So I'm going to do these last two with dimensionals just so we have a little bit of height on here. And I just received the new banner punch. We haven't had one of these in quite some time. So I love this. And you can use any one of these that you want. I could put it this way, not quite big enough. I think it's gonna, there. So we can do like this. It's hard to hold up in the air, much easier to do on my lap, but that's not gonna fit on the camera. There. So I could have done a bigger paper, but I always have these strips left over from cutting the inside. So this and this I'm going to put on dimensionals. I love dimensionals. I don't think I ever make a card that's totally flat. And so, yeah. And the hardest part is getting the backing off. So I use my pick tool. Just kind of jab that in there and twist that off. Where'd my trash go there? There. So this is it. I'm going to put this down here. And I might move this. I think I'll move this up. To me, it looks best there. So that's where it's going. And then I do have some, always put some gems or some ribbon, just a little bit of extra dimension and oomph on there. I think it makes a difference. First they notice how pretty the card is, and then they realize, oh, it's even prettier than I thought. There. So 3 little gems on there, and that really, I think that's a beautiful card. So then I will put an inside saying on the white to go inside. Sorry about that little jiggle. And then I usually put a strip of paper down at the bottom on the inside as well, just to decorate a little further. So let me show you the other ones that I did. I just kept playing with this, and the more I played with it, the more I loved it. I did the sympathy one next, and like I said, it didn't have anything on the background, so I wasn't really doing it properly. Then I took the Sweet and Spooky, and these are cutouts that come inside. This is a cutout, this is a cutout, everything. So this was super easy to do, and I'm not sure how well you can see it, but I did put a smaller layer of black on the front, and I ran it through a textured embossing folder, so I have some texture. I think that that's kind of a fun look for this. This one I changed a little bit, and I used this instead of the rectangle, and I moved the circle up. So, right, you can do whatever it dictates for you. So this one goes back to the original. I have this nice bright layer of the 3 3/4 by 5. I've done the cake on this here. This is plain, and I've got the saying here, and dimensionals under here and here and here. And then the Christmas one that we did. So that is a lot of ideas, and I hope you enjoy this one. I have some other card templates I'd like to share as well, so let me know if you enjoyed this and what else you'd like to see. Thanks for joining me. It helps if you subscribe. Thank you. Bye.